So I was asked about a stop loss. Forget the stop win, right? Stop win right now, we're talking about just getting 1 unit a day. So where would you draw the line on stopping before you could get to a positive one? I don't think it should take that long, but it could. I had a shoe of one of these 8 shoes that I've done already where I was down as many as 7 units. And guess what? I wasn't letting it get the better of me. I wasn't chasing it. I wasn't increasing it. I didn't even decrease it. I left the unit the same value. And over time, I was able to find different variables that I was able to fight for to get it all the way back up, not just the 7 units to 0, but I got it up to another 3 at one point before I gave one back and then called it a shoe with 2 units. The point is, that's a 10 unit swing my way. So if there's an ability to get a 7 unit swing the other way, and I'm able to come back up 10 units for a positive 3, we're just trying to stay above this, right? We're just trying to stay above 0. A guy that's always telling me, if we could just stay close to this, that's all we need. So if you're at that, then there's only 2 things that can happen. Just like Bakra, there's only 2 things that can happen. You either have this, well, 1. It's not letting me write the minus before the 1, so we'll just have to do this. Right? 0 minus 1. Minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. Oh no, I'm down 4 units. I better double up what I'm betting so I get that back. And I get 2 back, and I'm at a minus 2 now, right? No, I don't want to do that. We don't have to do that. Think about if that unit was worth a lot more money than just whatever your base value is right now. And you start betting 2 and 4. You might as well be martingaling if that's really what you're thinking about. Your stop loss. Loss is inevitable, but it's just a moment in time. It's just a moment in time till it comes back up. It's not infinite where it can never be recovered again. So you had minus 4. Let's say you had a day where, fuck it, I just couldn't win. Clear that up. So you had minus 4, and you went back the next day, and you said, I'm just going to make this a loss recovery day. And you know what? Sometimes that might be what it is. Now, there's 30 days in a month. I don't want to have 10 of my days being loss recovery days either, right? We take the attitude of, we're not leaving until we get this and this, right? Or this and this and this and this. Wouldn't that be great? How many times do you get an 8 unit shoe, guys? And ask yourself what kind of shoes they were to get that kind of a shoe. I'll bet you, if you did, it's because something you were fighting for or liked to fight for stayed the same a lot more than it didn't. I'd be on your side on that. But you can't put a square peg in a round hole either. If it's not happening, it simply isn't happening. It never happened. So what you need to do is be patient. Like I said, you can hear it when I sigh sometimes in my video. Like, I'm seeing things we could have won on like this. Ooh, oh yeah, sure, 11 even, right? We could have won on like this. And be done. Like, that'd be a good shoe having 4 units, especially if it's a meaningful unit. But then we'll have shoes like this that are like this. You know, like this. And then we'll be like this. We get back to 0, and then we go back down. And then we go back up. You know what I'm saying. It's a seesaw. And that's the thing, right? If it's more motherfucking where it's coming down and you're down to 3 and it's a struggle to get back up, ask yourself, how long have you been in this fucking shoe? If it's a battle, dude, getting back to 0 alone or even close is a victory. And just get off that shoe, because we know there's another shoe around the corner that's going to always produce the way we want. If not the first hand, the second hand. Like my guy said, if we're willing to skip a hand, I think what too many people do is they play every hand. Too many hands. You know, what if you were like this? You started out and you won one right off the rip. You're feeling great. Oh, good. I walked in and I won right away. But we don't separate the wins from our losses, do we? My guy taught me, you got to do that. You got to keep these like they never happened. And every time we win, we're back to this. We don't worry that we won one and we gave it back. I mean, we do. We don't want to lose after we win it, obviously. But think about it another way. Like, if you win one and you put that positive unit in your pocket, fuck it. Let's say that unit was worth $250 or something, and you won that unit right off the rip. Take that $250 off the table. Say, save my spot. Take that shit right to the cage. Cash it out. Ask for $1 bills if you have to, just so you feel like it's meaningful. Put $251 bills in a strap in your fucking pocket. Be like, I just won that bitch. And go back to the table with this. I don't know if they'll let you do that, but you know what I'm saying. Make yourself feel like you're a winner. And guess what? If that's your base unit, I don't know what people's base unit is. If that is your base unit, and you got money to fuck with to do that, accept that for what it is. A lot of people work harder than a few minutes to get a $250 take, right? But it doesn't have to be even $50. Take that shit. If that's what your base unit is, there's no shame in that. There's no shame if it's 25. You know, $50, guys. There's nothing wrong with that. You take that shit, take it right to the cage. Now you come back with whatever your fucking buy-in is. And by the way, that buy-in never needs to be a lot to begin with. Challenge yourself to buy in with less. I think that is the thing. Then you don't worry what your stop loss is because you ain't buying in with shit. Let's say your units are $50. Buy in with $300. Split that shit into 6 units. Yeah, $50 in 6 units. See and challenge yourself if you're able to get that $50 to the good within those 6 units. And if you are, cash it out. Because we only got to do that 6 times in a day, and you have your $300 take. And if you get that $300 take every single fucking day, this is why I'm saying 300. This number doesn't have to be 300 either. It's a number that I like because I like using $100 units. And if I get just 3 of them in a day, that shit would be done so quick, right? You can't win a unit here, a unit there, a unit over there, and be done for the day. Really? But if you're doing 50s and you were able to split that over, time, you might be there a little longer. You might not be. You might catch a good shoe where you can just get a variable to stick. But you can't worry about hand to hand to hand to hand. It's got to be like I'm doing on the videos. Like I'll have one where I'll win here and then I'm just waiting for something to find its way. And there's no right or wrong way to play. Another thing my guy says, you can win a unit with any stupid system, right? Anyway, anyone wants to play, they probably could. Do you know where we all fail? It's trying to win all this. You ain't going to win all that in a day. You ain't going to win half that or even a tenth of that in a day. But we're all trying to break the balls every single day. That's why you're struggling. That's why you're all bent on what the stop loss is. We're going to win and we're going to lose. The whole game's based on that. Right? The whole game. Let me do this better. I don't see. It really comes down to that. And if you think like the world's against you, then yeah, go take a walk. I mean, you don't have to leave yourself in that mess. If you come back, another shoe's going to produce completely different than what you're wanting to play for. So I think what I'm going to do to answer the question of what's the stop loss is, how about we just stop trying to play for everything and ending up with nothing? I keep trying to beat that into people's heads too, but we're not understanding it. It's like you get worried about missing out is what it is. You see a long run and you're watching everyone get excited and you're not on it. Fuck off, right? Fuck them. Just walk away from it. If you weren't involved in it, then it's too late. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not willing to write off the fuck off, then fuck off yourself, because you're not in it. You can't cry that you're not on it. You had a chance to jump in, you didn't. So it's one. The way I look at it, dude, stop loss. If I get the first one, I've guaranteed the push, right? If I get the second one, I've guaranteed the win because I have two. And even if I lose the next one, I've guaranteed the push. I can't do less than that. If I leave with the take and go cash it out, come back with a fresh state of mind, I'm back with my original 300, then I divide into 6 units, and I'm just trying to get that unit that's there in the equation of 50. Or if it's 300 divided by 100, I made the job so much simpler. I only got to get 3 in a day. What if you had the income where you just needed to do this once a day and walk right out? That's how the whales are. Whales come in, they can make this in one bet, walk out. What if they were able to do that times 30 days, times 12 months? Right? How many units do you need to achieve that? Questionable. Depends on your play style. Depends how much pride you have and you're not going to chase your shit. But why make it that hard on yourself? Most people aren't going to do that. But if you were able to do this, let's say for 30 days, and then prove yourself you could do that for another 30. That's not accurate, sorry. I'm a little distracted. If you did 300, I gotta pause the video because this right here is as simple as it has to be. You're getting $300 every 30 days and you're making 27 grand in 3 months. What could you then do with that 27 grand? Forget what you could do with it. Prove to yourself that you're able to do it. Because once you've done that, you've already proved you can rack up that kind of money. Now you have 27,000. And you're trying to get 3 units a day over 90 days. Like, I like to go with the baseline of 40 units. But you're never going to need anything close to that. But if that's what you had, that would give you the ability to bet $675 a unit. But I'm not saying you even got to do that. So, if I was trying to get that 27,000 and it took me 300 a day to do it, then I would need $300 times 40 units, which would be about $12,000. Which coincidentally, I have split up over 3s, right? Because I'm only getting 100 at a time. But if I was going to do that with just one straight up bet over $300, I would need at least 12 grand. In my personal comfortability opinion, I'd have to have at least 12 grand. So, who wants that kind of stress? So I said, let's do it like this. That's more reasonable to save up. And then of that, it gives you 40 units to get 300 a day. Right? You have $100 units. You get 3 of them a day, you have 300. But if we need to do that a little slower, there's nothing fucking wrong with that. 300 isn't like the number that everybody should go by. It's just a number I've chosen because I think I can do it with the right amount of capital pretty damn easily. I used to go and I would just bet these every day. And you know what I would do? funny, actually. The number 300, this is probably why I come up with that number. I'd walk in with $300, and I would split that up by 20. Half of what I actually need. But I'd have 2 separate buy-ins of $300 for a total of 40 units. So the first 300 would give me 20 units of $15. And then the second one would give me another $300 of $20. Sorry. Someone opened my door, so I got fucking distracted. So 300 divided by 20, $15 units. And if I have $600, it gives me 40 $15 units. Right? Sorry, 600 divided by 40, still 15, right? So, I don't need 40 units, but it just made me feel comfortable. But my point in saying that is, I was able to win these all day long, you know? All day long. And better still, I wasn't afraid to parlay with these because it was just $15. Let me show you something fascinating. If I was able to just put, I don't know what your minimums are, but if you were able to put $15 out there and just say, fuck it, I'm going to flip it 5 times, times 2, times 2, times 2, times 2, times 2. You're flipping $15 and you're never taking it out and you're flipping it 5 times. Commission notwithstanding, you'd have $480 or almost half a grand with this. But the only way that works is if you find something to stay the same over time or right in a row. So obviously right in a row would be a long bank or long player or a long chop that just da-da-da-da-da never stops, right? Sure, that'd be great. That'd be easy. But how do you know when you're going to find that? Well, you see, I try to find that when it's starting to produce like it is. You can't pull it out of thin air. You can't say, I think it's going to go on a 5 run right now. Nobody fucking knows. And even if it's running on a lot of 3, 4 banks in a row, you don't know that it's going to go another 6. They're just rare to begin with. You know what's the most common, I think, is the chop. I'm just using this for binary purposes. You know, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There's more instances of 1 and then 2, 2, and then 1, 1, 1, and then 2, 2. Just pretend this is player and banker, right? You just try to find the chops in all that mess. You know, and all of a sudden, oh, sure. So then all of a sudden, though, right, you have 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. That looks a little cleaner, right? Then you have the direct chop. 1, 0, player, bank. And not that long, right? But if you get a chop to open up, and then you're going to say, I'm going to just test and try to sift out the noise. I get 3 direct chops, and I'll skip a hand, and maybe it goes player again. And then I'll bet for the opposite. If it goes bank, great. If it doesn't, then I got a whole other situation. I got to make sure it's not running, right? If it is, I'm not fighting the quicksand. I'm not fighting the opposite 6 times in a row. We don't have to worry about what our stop loss is. We just have to find a way to win more consistently. So what I'm going to start doing is finding a way to show different ways you can fight for things, and you don't have to use them all in the same shoe. They're tools for different situations based on the way the shoe is producing at the time. But you have to be willing to let it go. When your run is through, you know when your run is through and it's over. And that run could be simultaneously one hand after the next, or it could be a span of waiting for 10 hands for it to open up again, to try again. It just depends on what it is. Most of the time, it's going to be closer together. But sometimes there's things that are more rare that you can get paid on just because it's an anomaly that keeps happening.